Most people don't realize that the ability to balance, something we often take for granted in our younger years, can actually reveal a remarkable amount about our overall health, resilience, and even our life expectancy. And recent studies have brought to light a fascinating yet simple 5-second test that may give us more insight into our longevity than some of the most complex medical diagnostics. And while it might seem almost too simple to be meaningful, the science behind this balance test is grounded in decades of research on how aging affects muscle coordination, neurological function, and physical resilience. And what's so powerful about this test is not just how easy it is to do, but what it tells us about the integrity of systems inside our body that we rarely think about, like proprioception, which is our body's ability to sense its position in space, or the communication between our brain and muscles, or the condition of the small, stabilizing muscles that keep us upright without conscious effort. And for people over 60, the implications are even more profound because the loss of balance isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's often the first sign that the body is becoming less coordinated, less responsive, and more vulnerable to falls, fractures, and a cascade of health issues that can rapidly spiral out of control if not addressed. And the reason this particular test has captured the attention of geriatric specialists and researchers alike is because it taps directly into what they call functional reserve, which is the body's ability to cope with stress, respond to sudden changes, and recover from minor setbacks before they become major problems. And the test itself, while incredibly basic in form, challenges your nervous system, muscular system, and cognitive awareness all at once, creating a sort of snapshot of your current biological age versus your chronological age. And the beauty of this is that no equipment is required, no appointment is needed, and no technical skill is involved. Just you, your body, and 5 seconds of focus. Yet the outcome can provide a powerful clue about your current health trajectory and whether you're maintaining the agility, strength, and mental acuity needed for long-term wellness. And while the test is often associated with standing on one leg for a short duration without support, there's a deeper nuance to how your body performs during this moment. And it's not just about whether you can balance. It's about how your muscles respond to micro instabilities, how your eyes focus, how your core engages, and whether you feel stable or strained. And the test acts as a barometer of your body's communication systems, from the soles of your feet to the synapses in your brain. And what's even more fascinating is that this simple test has now been linked through multiple studies to all-cause mortality, meaning that individuals who struggle with it, especially after age 60, are statistically at greater risk of experiencing major health complications or earlier death than those who pass it with ease. And before you get worried or discouraged, the point here isn't to alarm but to empower, because unlike genetic risks or family history, this is one area of aging that you can take control of starting right now. And the 5-second balance test isn't just a predictor, it's a call to action, a doorway into preventive care that can transform how you move through the next years of your life. And understanding why it matters starts with appreciating what balance truly involves, because it's not just about standing still. It's about how your brain integrates sensory input from your eyes, ears, joints, and skin, and how quickly and efficiently your muscles respond to those inputs to keep you upright. And in younger bodies, this happens effortlessly and constantly without conscious thought. But as we age, the speed and accuracy of those systems begin to decline, often due to inactivity, vitamin deficiencies, joint deterioration, neurological slowdown, and even subtle changes in posture or vision. And the result is that we slowly begin to compensate, perhaps leaning on furniture, walking slower, avoiding stairs, or feeling hesitant on uneven ground. But each of those compensations is a warning sign, and the longer we ignore them, the more deeply the imbalance sets in, not just physically, but neurologically. And over time, what was once a small wobble turns into a dangerous fall. Risk, and what was once a slight hesitation becomes a lifestyle limitation that robs us of freedom. And this is why something as brief and accessible as a 5-second balance test is so profoundly important because it allows us to check in with our bodies before these declines become irreversible. And for seniors, especially those who value independence, this test could be a game changer because it helps answer one of the most critical questions of aging. Do I still have the strength, coordination, and neural sharpness to live fully on my own terms? And if not, what can I do to regain it? And the good news is balance is trainable. Yes, even at 60, 70, or beyond, you could dramatically improve your balance, and in doing so, reverse many of the risks that poor balance signals, from cognitive decline to muscle atrophy to social withdrawal. And the first step is awareness. And that's exactly what this 5-second test provides. So when you try it, pay close attention not just to whether you succeed or fail, but to how your body feels as it tries. Are your legs shaking? Are your arms flaring out? Are your toes curling or gripping for control? Is your breathing smooth or tense? And by observing those responses without judgment, you'll begin to understand exactly where your body is in its aging process. And once you see where you are, you can begin to chart the path forward toward better strength, stability, and longevity. Now that you've seen just how powerful this 5-second balance test can be, it's time to understand the layers of health that are revealed through such a deceptively simple action. Because what most people don't realize is that the ability or inability to hold your body steady for just a few seconds is actually the outcome of countless internal systems, either working together in harmony or falling slightly out of sync. And the more we understand this internal coordination, the more empowered we become to fix what's going wrong before it turns into a serious medical issue. And it all begins with your vestibular system, the tiny yet mighty balance control center located deep within your inner ear, which sends signals to your brain about your orientation and movement in space. And when that system weakens, as it commonly does with age, it becomes more difficult for your body to judge where it is in relation to the ground, especially when your eyes are closed or your surroundings are unfamiliar. And this often leads to subtle missteps, like misjudging a stair height or stumbling slightly when turning a corner, which we often brush off as clumsiness or nothing to worry about. But these minor slips are like a canary in the coal mine, showing us that the pathways between balance centers and motor responses are not firing as quickly or accurately as they used to. And the second layer comes from your proprioceptive system, which is the internal map your body uses to keep track of where your limbs are without looking. And this system relies heavily on healthy nerves in your feet, legs, joints, and spine. And if you've ever noticed tingling, numbness, or a sense of deadness in your feet, those are strong signs that your proprioception may be compromised, which is why balance becomes more difficult and the 5-second test becomes so revealing. And we must also look at muscle coordination, particularly in the core, hips, and ankles, which are the trio of regions that provide foundational support when you stand on one leg. And if any of these areas are weak, underused, or out of sync, your ability to stay upright falters almost immediately. And that momentary struggle, just 5 seconds, can speak volumes about how well you're maintaining strength and symmetry in the muscles that protect you from dangerous falls and give you the confidence to move freely. And let's not forget about visual input, because your eyesight also plays a central role in balance. And as we age, our ability to quickly process what we see and convert it into movement becomes slower, meaning our balance reactions become less sharp. And all of this, from your eyes to your ears to your nervous system to your muscles, comes together in a delicate dance during the 5-second test. And what researchers have found is that people who cannot maintain balance for 5 seconds without assistance, especially after the age of 60, are statistically more likely to suffer falls, lose independence, or face early mortality. And it's not that the test causes these outcomes, but rather that it reveals deeper vulnerabilities that might otherwise go unnoticed. And this is exactly why so many experts are now urging older adults to use the 5-second balance test as a daily check-in, not just to measure balance itself, but to stay in tune with their whole body health, because when something shifts in your balance, it often means something has shifted in your lifestyle, your nutrition, your mobility, or your cognitive sharpness. And these are areas that can be strengthened, corrected, and improved if you act early enough. And one of the most powerful insights from recent studies is that people who train their balance regularly, not just through standing exercises, but through mindful, intentional movements like Tai Chi, yoga, walking on varied surfaces, or even dancing, are able to significantly reduce their fall risk, improve their brain function, and even slow the progression of neurodegenerative diseases, because balance training doesn't just affect your legs or muscles, it stimulates your brain to grow new neural connections, which increases mental clarity, alertness, and mood, all of which are crucial for healthy aging. And this is why the 5-second balance test is not only predictive, but transformative, because it becomes both the signal and the solution, a way to see where you are and a reason to do better. And when you start paying attention to it, truly paying attention, you begin to notice patterns in your body, how certain shoes affect your stability, how hydration improves your steadiness, how poor sleep weakens your control, and how strong legs and hips make a world of difference. And suddenly you're not just doing a test, you're becoming a more aware, responsive, and capable version of yourself. And that shift from passive aging to active participation in your own wellness is what leads to longer life, not just in years, but in vitality, in freedom, in joy. And that's why this test matters more than people think, not because it's a magic bullet, but because it reflects something deeper. It's a mirror showing you exactly what your body is trying to tell you long before more serious issues arise. At this point, you might be wondering just how the 5-second balance test truly reflects your health and longevity. And it's understandable, because the connection between something as seemingly small as balancing on one leg and something as profound as how long you'll live can feel like a stretch. But when we dig deeper into the research, the connection becomes much clearer and more compelling. Because what we're seeing across multiple studies is that poor balance, especially as we age, isn't just about the obvious risk of falls. It's a warning sign of a body that's beginning to lose its ability to compensate for the natural wear and tear that comes with aging. And this wear and tear extends far beyond just the muscles and joints in the legs. It encompasses everything from our neurological health to our cardiovascular fitness, our cognitive sharpness, and even our emotional resilience. And what the 5-second test does is capture the interplay of all these systems in a single, simple moment of physical effort. So it's not just a measure of how strong your legs are, but how well your entire body can cooperate to maintain stability. And that's why it's such an important tool for predicting overall health outcomes, including your lifespan. Because when you struggle to balance, it's often an indication that one or more of your body systems is beginning to slow down or falter. And as it turns out, this is one of the most powerful early indicators of risk factors for chronic diseases, falls, and even mortality. And to give you a clearer picture of just how connected balance is to life expectancy, let's take a closer look at the research on this, because studies have shown that older adults who can't maintain their balance for 5 seconds on one leg are much more likely to experience physical decline, including diminished muscle mass, loss of bone density, and even more significant problems like heart disease and stroke. And it's not just about being able to stand. Still, balance is a dynamic process that requires your body to work in harmony. And when that harmony begins to break down, the consequences can cascade. But the most fascinating part is that the opposite is also true. Those who pass the test, even if it's just for a few seconds, are statistically more likely to live longer, healthier lives with a greater quality of life. And it all comes down to how well your body maintains its internal equilibrium. And one of the best examples of this comes from studies involving elderly populations and their ability to stand on one leg, where researchers found that those who could balance for longer periods not only had fewer falls, but were also at lower risk for major health events like heart attacks or strokes. And it turns out that balance reflects much more than just physical strength. It's also a direct reflection of your body's ability to manage stress, recover from injury, and resist disease. And when your balance is poor, it's often a signal that your body systems are no longer functioning optimally. Whether it's because of underlying conditions like diabetes, cardiovascular issues, or even undiagnosed neurodegenerative diseases. And here's the really intriguing part. If you consistently train your balance through exercises and mindful movements, you can actually improve your brain's plasticity, increase your nervous system's efficiency, and in many cases, reverse the effects of aging on your body's ability to balance and stabilize itself. And this is one of the reasons why so many doctors and health professionals are recommending balance training as a critical part of aging well. Because it's a form of exercise that not only strengthens the body, but also fortifies the mind. And when you think about it, balance is one of the most underrated markers of cognitive health, because it requires your brain to constantly process information from your environment, your eyes, your ears, your proprioceptors, and make split-second decisions about how to keep you steady and prevent a fall. And when this ability begins to decline, it's often an early warning sign of cognitive decline or early stages of dementia. And that's why the 5-second balance test is so telling. It doesn't just reflect physical decline, it can also reveal mental and neurological weaknesses that often go unnoticed until they become more serious. And yet, as daunting as it sounds, the solution to improving balance and increasing longevity lies within your reach, and it doesn't require expensive treatments or drastic lifestyle changes. It simply requires a commitment to paying attention to your body's needs and taking proactive steps to restore balance. And if you're wondering where to start, the best way to improve balance is by incorporating simple but effective exercises into your daily routine, like standing on one leg while brushing your teeth, doing heel-to-toe walks, or practicing Tai Chi or yoga, because these exercises aren't just about improving balance. They're also about improving strength, flexibility, and coordination, and together, these elements help your body become more resilient to the natural challenges that aging presents. And as you work to improve your balance, you'll notice that your confidence and independence grow right along with your physical capabilities. And the good news is that this process doesn't take years. It can begin to show results in a matter of weeks. And by continuing to challenge your body and mind, you'll see significant improvements not just in your balance, but in your overall quality of life. And that's the beauty of the 5-second balance test. It's a simple tool that can change your entire approach to aging, because it doesn't just tell you where you're at today, it gives you the chance to take action, to get stronger, to get smarter, and to live longer. And the message here is clear. Don't wait for things to decline further before you take action. Take the 5-second balance test today and use the knowledge you gain from it to empower yourself to live your best life, because the ability to balance is not just a physical skill. It's a reflection of how well you're aging. And if you want to ensure that your later years are filled with vitality, independence, and a sense of agency over your health, then it's time to make balance a priority. And remember, balance isn't just about standing on one leg. It's about standing strong in every aspect of life, and with the right tools, mindset, and dedication, you can keep standing tall for many years to come. As we approach the conclusion of our discussion, it's important to reflect on the power of small actions in preserving our health and longevity. And this 5-second balance test, while incredibly simple, holds immense potential in helping us understand how we age, how our bodies adapt to the changes that come with time, and, most importantly, how we can take control of our well-being before issues arise. Because too often, we wait until something goes wrong, whether it's an injury, a fall, or a decline in our strength, before we seek solutions. But this balance test is a reminder that prevention is always better than intervention. And by using this simple test regularly, you are not only gaining insight into your physical health, but also taking proactive steps to mitigate the risk of future health challenges. And the good news is that this isn't just about preventing falls. It's about nurturing the interconnected systems of your body that contribute to overall vitality. And when we speak about vitality, we're talking about the quality of life you experience as you age, which is directly tied to your ability to move with ease, to respond to your environment, and to engage with the world around you without fear or hesitation. And balance plays a critical role in all of these aspects. And as we age, it becomes even more crucial to pay attention to balance, because it acts as an early warning system for a wide range of health issues, from muscle weakness to neurological decline to issues with blood circulation or heart health. And one of the most surprising findings from recent studies is that the ability to balance on one leg can even be a predictor of cognitive health. Because as we mentioned earlier, balance involves the coordination of multiple systems, including your brain, and the better your brain is at coordinating these systems, the healthier and more connected it is. And when balance starts to deteriorate, it can be an indication that your cognitive function is starting to slip. And this is why it's so essential to integrate balance training into your daily routine, because the stronger your balance, the better your brain is functioning. And it's not just about avoiding falls. It's about preserving the sharpness and agility of your mind. And just think about the impact of that in the long term, because cognitive decline, while natural in some respects, can be delayed or even reversed when we engage in activities that stimulate the brain. And balance exercises, whether it's standing on one leg, doing yoga, or participating in activities like dancing, force the brain to be active, to make quick decisions, to engage in fine motor control, and to strengthen the neural connections that help keep us sharp and alert. And this isn't a vague or theoretical concept. It's backed by science. And there's an abundance of evidence to show that balance exercises can enhance brain function and delay cognitive aging. And this is just one of the many reasons why you should take the 5-second test seriously. Because it's not just about standing still, it's about challenging your body and your brain to work together. And when you succeed in that challenge, you're essentially giving yourself a mental and physical workout that strengthens your brain, your body, and your confidence all at once. And this speaks to a much broader idea of health. The idea that aging isn't something that happens to you, but something you can actively participate in. And while there are many factors that influence how we age, from genetics to lifestyle, the simple fact remains that the more we engage with our bodies and our brains, the healthier and longer we'll live. And this 5-second balance test is an easy and effective way to gauge how well you're doing in this regard. And it's also a call to action, a chance for you to step up and take charge of your health. So if you've done the test and found yourself struggling, don't get discouraged. Use it as motivation to start improving, because balance can be improved and it doesn't require a lot of time or fancy equipment. It just requires consistency, dedication, and a commitment to doing the work every single day. And as you practice balance, you will start to see improvements in your strength, flexibility, posture, and confidence. And in the long term, this can translate into a greater sense of independence, more freedom in your movement, and a reduced risk of falls, injuries, and other health complications. And it's not just about living longer. It's about living better. And if you've taken anything away from this, I hope it's that small actions like taking 5 seconds to test your balance can have a profound impact on your overall health. And that by incorporating balance training into your routine, you are giving yourself the best chance at a long, healthy, and active life. And so I encourage you to make the 5-second balance test a part of your daily health routine. And if you've been inspired by this discussion, don't stop here. Explore other balance-enhancing exercises, engage in activities that stimulate your mind, nourish your body with a healthy diet, and take care of your emotional well-being. Because all of these factors work together to create a life that is not just long, but fulfilling. And remember, balance is about more than standing on one leg. It's about standing strong, both physically and mentally, and by taking small steps today, you are building the foundation for a healthier tomorrow. So test your balance regularly, keep pushing yourself to improve, and never forget that your health is in your hands. And with the right mindset, commitment, and action, you can continue to live a life that is full of vitality, energy, and strength, no matter your age.